He is a climate activist and author of We Rise, the Earth Guardian's Guide to Building a Movement that Restores the Planet. Xiuhtezcatl Martinez is back with us. Xiu.
See you again. Good to see you.
How are you? Great to see you again.
Happy to be here.
I know. I think you're still our youngest guest. You were our young. You've checked this out. Okay. All right.
That's what they told me, anyways.
I think so. Yes. We don't have. They're not a children's show. So. And you were here last time. You were talking about the lawsuit. You and 21 other young people filed a lawsuit. I think it's a great idea, saying, you know, the right to breathe good air should be ours. And a federal judge ruled in your favor. It's going forward now, right? So congratulations.
Appreciate that.
What's going to happen now?
So, I think one thing to note that's incredibly important is that I think one of the biggest problems we've made as a planet, as a community, is depending on our politicians to do things for us, when as constituents we also have to be a part of that process.
Yeah.
Especially as young people, when our futures are so directly connected to the way that we address climate change that we have to be at the forefront of the conversation, where we've traditionally been left out. So we are demanding the federal government to protect us from the adverse impacts of climate change. There was a motion to dismiss filed by the federal government and by the fossil fuel corporations. After two different federal judges reviewed the case, the motion to dismiss, they denied it. So now we are going to be going to trial on February 5th against the Trump administration, demanding that they uphold our constitutional rights as American citizens to a life, liberty, and property.
And where do you see this going? I mean, what is the end result that could happen from this?
So best case scenario is we win the lawsuit, and the top climate scientists, we've worked with top climate scientists to put together a climate recovery plan that is science-based evidence that will shape the way that we address climate change in this nation, doing massive reductions of greenhouse gases annually until we get back to a safe level of CO2 and greenhouse gases in the atmosphere that is no longer threatening and creating climate change. So it's a big dream and a big vision, but I think that to even have that conversation and the fact that our lawsuit has gone this far is incredible, because it's not just about the science, it's the stories. Each one of these young people is being affected by climate change. The youngest plaintiff in this lawsuit lives in Florida, and he's going to be affected by the hurricanes that are coming through. You know, so for us, it's more than scientists, it's more than science, it's more than law, it's more than politics, it's our stories, and it's our future.
And you talk a lot about the fact that it is not just cars and planes that cause the pollution. It's the way we eat.
Definitely.
It's a lot about the food. I've talked about it myself many times. I don't think people realize cows do more damage than cars, if you want to just put it on a bumper sticker.
Definitely, and people gotta recognize that. And so for something like, for an example, when Trump pulled out of the Paris Climate Accords, you know, that is something that everyday people don't necessarily have a say in, right? You know, as far as a massive impact on the way that we move forward in addressing climate change. But we eat 3 meals a day, and every single one of those is an opportunity to make a choice for or against our future, for or against a healthy climate. You know, so for people out there, understanding the impact that eating meat and dairy has on our planet is incredibly critical to
Can you explain a little why it's so bad for the planet?
So industrialized agriculture is...
Boy, at first I felt like a parent.
Yes.
Dad.
It's just so massive. You know, so...
Okay, don't. But do your homework and then take out the garbage. Come on.
So the book that I just wrote, We Rise, which is now going to people all over the country, has a really good section about food justice. So I definitely recommend you buying the book and reading about it there. But really, I think looking at industrialized agriculture and the impact that we have as far as methane escaping from cows. They fart and they burp methane, as well as the massive amounts of land and forest that needs to be cleared to grow soy and corn that they feed to the cows, the amount of water that is wasted, the amount of transportation that goes through. It's a whole thing. So it's a whole thing. Yeah.
All right. So what did you think of Trump wanting to pull out of DACA?
For my entire
You're a
life,
native. You're partly, I mean...
Yeah, Mexican. My whole family is Mexican. You know?
Right.
And for me, immigration has been an incribly important issue.
But I mean, even more
life.
native than that. You're partly Aztec, right?
Exactly.
You were here before any of these white motherfuckers got here.
True.
Yeah.
Before Spain came through. For us, I think it's looking at the demographic of people in this nation and saying you don't have a right to be here. You know, when it comes to that, I think it's besides the politics, it's about our stories and it's about the youth. You know, it's about the young people here, the people that came through to this nation to seek a better life. You know, even for them, it wasn't even their choice in a lot of instances. So I think that we have this responsibility. You see that after he made that decision, people were furious all over the nation, taking to the streets, taking to social media, because we realized that our president isn't going to stand up for the rights of these people. And in many occasions, when we look at the action he's taken on climate change, and the action he's taken towards minority communities, he's not standing up for the people of this country. And that's something where we have to fight back in our streets and in our courts. And that's
you and I got to smoke. We gotta smoke a bone with Ken Bone after the show.
I'll be
okay, so you're 17, right? Okay, so you're not a millennial.
No.
Okay, so you. What? No,
discriminating.
I have great hope for your generation because the millennials, you know, I mean, a lot of them come to my shows, and I love these people because, you know, they're fighting against, I think, what is the tide of their generation, which is a lot about trigger warnings and safe spaces and microaggressions, and usually one generation backlashes against the next. So please tell me your generation is going to take a flamethrower to that bullshit. Because I don't know how they got so fragile, these millennials. But you got to put some steel back in.
We're going to have to be really resilient.
There you go.